we kind of talked a little bit about like the youth voice, but do you think that the Indian and South Asian voices in general are really being represented and heard fully in these climate negotiations, or do you think that we need to still be taking strides to include more people who maybe aren't being heard?
Indeed, I feel there is representation available right now for all of us South Asian countries in COP. We have Hita, we have Soumya. I generally speak about water issues. We have so many representatives all around the world. We have Akhilesh. All of them have been vouching towards climate awareness and education. However, I think we are still grasping at straws. We are trying to find out how do we reach to these COPs, how do we get the fundings to reach there, and how do we take more people with us. When we are given these platforms, generally we try and see, can we send somebody else who will be a better, representative for these things? But then language is also a barrier. So then many grassroots people are not confident in bigger crowds. So the best way to go about it is having COIs, where all the reports get combined and then it goes to the COP. So representation has been there, but I feel some more inclusivity in COP to ensure that these grassroots people feel more welcome and comfortable in these, bigger platforms would really go a long way.
I think I agree, and this has been a message that's been reiterated, I think, with a few amongst your cohort of activists who've spoken frequently on the need to sort of expand that representation to make sure everyone's being heard. And I'm taking a bit of a jump, going from the grassroots up to these sort of bigger industrialized nations, bigger industrialized companies, and maybe wondering what your ideas or thoughts are in terms of the commitments you want to see from sort of the global north, or for the big industrialized nations with the money and power to make significant change. What would you like to see from them specifically at COP30?
Oh, I would really love to see some northern technology come into our spaces, because we do have the innovative and creative youth and the talent that we need in terms of engineers and architects and urban planning, and the concepts of these walkable cities that's more achievable in the north than in the global south. I think that's being pushed forward. But I think global south already lives very close to cities, but we are wanting to move towards urbanization. So what is that we need to learn from the north, that they first industrialized, then they urbanized, and now they're wanting to make the cities greener. But while we already have greener cities, what is that middle ground that we both need to reach on? What is that knowledge sharing in terms of traditional or technological, that exchange that can happen? So I would really love to see some commitments on that front, because most of our cities, most of our urban towns are now concretizing very fast. So, and given the heat that's increasing, we really need to look forward to more green corridors within the cities.
Do you think that, having only been in North India myself, do you think that's achievable throughout the country? I know that the climatic differences, the geography makes that a little bit challenging. Do you think it's easier in the south than in the north, or am I off base?
Yes, I feel because the resources are more leaning towards making lives better for people in terms of living standards in the north. But in the south, we are still struggling to, up our economy game. So how do we do that? So in even like Paris Agreement, when it was discussed that every country will have to follow a cap of emissions, global south countries stood up against it, because we did not have enough development going on to begin with to be called that we are also an equal partner in the pollution. And if we do not produce as many resources or as many like goods, how do we develop? So I think that debate has been long going on, and I see no end to it till date, sadly. So we need to see, like, where do we want to go with respect to, do we want safer living spaces? Do we want developed places to live in? Or, we are just wanting to use up all the resources that are available right now and completely neglect the sustainable development definition with respect to livelihoods, rather than just focus on sustainable development in terms of the economics. There are three pillars, right? Nature, people, and economics. I think that intersection is what nobody is trying to work towards. Even in science and academia, very few people are looking at that interdisciplinary science that will, lead to on-ground action. So I would love to see things move forward, and I'm doing my part. I have a cohort. I'm working towards it. Waste, water, whatever, you know. But it's a very like small drop in the bucket. So let's see where that goes.